I came up with a new game today as I was getting all this together. It's called That's Baseball, Suzyn. For those of you who aren't aware, Suzyn Waldman does the color commentary for John Sterling with the New York Yankee broadcast. If you're new here, I am not a Yankee fan. I'm actually not even really a Diamondbacks fan, despite wearing a Diamondback shirt today. I'm a Mariners fan, but Brig, or my co-host, is the Yankee fan. And so every once in a while, because of him, I'll listen to Yankee games. I'll listen to John Sterling and Suzyn Waldman. One of my favorite things that he says to Suzyn when something strange happens is, "That's baseball, Suzyn." And ain't that the truth? Isn't that baseball? That's baseball, Suzyn. So here we go. We're going to play some That's Baseball, Suzyn. First things first. Kevin Gausman, the guy up here, he's pointing at me. I'm not sure why. I'm not the problem. Oh, I know. He's pointing at this guy, Domingo Germán, for the Yankees. Blue Jays pitcher Kevin Gausman says the Yankees owe them 3 innings, and that is a direct quote, because Domingo Germán pitched 3 innings of sticky stuff on his hands. Okay, I'm sure he's speaking in hyperbole, but I'm sorry, but that's not how that works. You don't get to say things like that because you sound like an idiot. That's baseball, Suzyn. I mean, if you want to go back and do those 3 innings, where does it stop? How do we stop this? Like, how? At what point? I know there were people calling for the Astros and the Red Sox to vacate their titles and give them back and give them to the Dodgers, right? Because the Dodgers were the runners up those years. Give the trophy to the Dodgers. I'm sorry, that's not how that works either. Those are just, if that was the case, those would just be years that they wouldn't have a champion, right? Like, that's how that works. And this is the way this works too, is that the Blue Jays had to deal with Domingo Germán cheating before the umpires caught him. Guy's been cheating for years before they get caught. That's baseball, Suzyn. So I don't know. I think it's a dumb comment by Gausman for him to say that, because nobody owes you 3 innings. Nobody owes you 3 innings. Your team is not playing good baseball right now. You know what you owe? You owe your fans better baseball, because the Blue Jays are better than what they've been right now. You cannot play the type of baseball they've been. And John Schneider going out there and not knowing the situation with his pitcher, having to take Alek Manoah early because it's his second mound visit of the inning, he's got to know. And if he doesn't know, somebody on his coaching staff has to know. Somebody's got to grab him by the back of the jersey and be like, "No, you get back down here, because he's not ready to come out. If you go out there, he's got to come out." I don't know. There's all kinds of dysfunction going on in Toronto right now, and it's odd. It's really odd, despite them being a winning team right now. It's an odd place. So anyway, that's baseball, Suzyn. Let's get in and talk about Max Muncy. Okay. Dodgers third baseman Max Muncy says that he believes that Cardinals catchers Wilson Contreras and Andrew Knizner were bullying the umpires over the weekend into making favorable calls for the Cardinals. What? Bullying the umpire? All right, let's look a little bit more into this. This is what he said to Bill Plunkett of the Orange County Register. He said he called it a ball, and for the catcher to sit there and tell him that's a terrible call and he missed it and needs to be better, and then the next one he gives it to him, that to me is where the frustration was coming from. I felt like that was happening all weekend long. Now, a little bit more context to this. Muncy was ejected in the 4th inning of Sunday's game. And I'm sure that there's a lot of frustration with that. And, like he said, he felt like the umpires were giving favorable calls to the Cardinals because the catchers were bullying the umpires. No, that's baseball, Suzyn. I'm sorry. Like, that's just how it works. That's called working an umpire. And the fact that he felt like Wilson Contreras and Andrew Knizner were doing that, but then Will Smith and Austin Barnes were not. Like, tell your catcher, like, hey, they're talking to the umpire back there, letting him know what he's missing. Like, you should be doing the same thing. Because those guys weren't getting tossed for arguing balls and strikes, which you'd think maybe would happen, because that's what happened to Muncy. Muncy got tossed for arguing balls and strikes, which happens all the time. But I think a lot of this comes with frustration that the Dodgers have not performed to the level that they have wanted to. But at the same time, you can't be making excuses like this. Oh, the umpires are giving favorable calls. No. That's not how that works. The Dodgers were outscored by the Cardinals 32-23 this weekend in a 4-game series, and the Cardinals won game 1 16-8. It was ugly. So I don't know. You can blame the umpires if you want, Max Muncy, but that's baseball, Suzyn. That is the way it goes.